We've raised 100 million rupees under his kind stewardship and leadership to invest into other startups to grow. So there is no collateral, there's certainly no expectation of getting that money back if the business runs to the ground. I'm one of those firm believers that success only comes in the form of a team.
Sri Lanka Business TV.
Hello there, welcome to Sri Lanka Business TV. Today we are with one of the most successful young entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka who has done magic in Sri Lanka digital marketing platforms. We are with none other than co-founder of Takas.lk, Lahiru Padmalal. Welcome to the channel, Lahiru. How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Cool. So I will start from a very simple question. How this journey of success started? How all this happened? Tell me your story.
Sure. So, in a nutshell, Taka started in 2012 with some angel funding and two co-founders. One is Murtaza Musaji. He works with me day to day even still, and Dilendra Vimalasekara, who's also another co-founder of Takas. So it was the three of us who kind of started Takas at the onset in 2012.
Okay, what is this angel funding? You mentioned it like many times.
Absolutely. So angel funding is a way or a mechanism or a thought process of getting funding from individual investors to grow your business. But the big difference, because they are an angel, essentially because they don't, if the company makes profit or you list or you sell at a profit to another company or a person, there'll be profits the angels will take with you. But let's say you run aground, your business runs to the ground, these angels won't come back after the money they invested. So there is no collateral, there's certainly no expectation of getting that money back if the business runs to the ground. So that's what we call angel funding.
So how can one get connected with the angel funding, or how does it operate?
So in 2012, I didn't really have a big network in Sri Lanka. I moved to Sri Lanka in 2009. So Dilendra and Muts knew investors what you would call an angel investor. And those days it was a very loose kind of organization. So through the network we went and pitched to these angels, and then we ended up getting funding. There are two kind of pivotal characters in the angel funding network in Sri Lanka. One is Rajan Anandan, who was then MD of Google in India and I think South Asia, as well as Prajit Balasubramaniam, who's a close friend of his. So they were instrumental in essentially organizing angel funding in Sri Lanka for not only Takas but a bunch of companies at the time. The Lankan angel network between 2012 and 2018, from an individual standpoint, they've invested around 2 billion rupees into the startup ecosystem or small businesses like Takas to grow. And right now, the Lankan Angel Network, which I'm a board member of, which is the chairman of the Lankan Angel Network is Mr. Manosekaram. We've raised 100 million rupees under his kind stewardship and leadership to invest into other startups to grow. Okay. So to answer your question, now there is a formal way of applying for angel funding, especially the 100 million which has been allocated under the Lankan Angel Network. And the Lankan Angel Network has a bunch of angels, more than 100 angels who even from a private capacity can invest. So if somebody is looking to grow their business, they can easily go to Google or a search engine, type for the Lankan Angel Network, which should take them to the Lankan Angel Network website, and there they'll find all the information which is required to apply for funding through the LAN network.
All right. When you started Takas, what were the challenges you faced?
Yeah, Takas.lk, when we started, we have two businesses actually. One which has been sold to Mr. Nalin Velgama, the chairman of the Ideal Group, which is the B2C, that's essentially the front-facing business in terms of buying and selling product. And there's a technology arm at Takas, or used to be Takas.lk, called TESS. So we essentially give technology solutions for other e-commerce companies, back-end technology solutions. So there are these two companies. So the main challenges in terms of technology companies or e-commerce when we started this business was primarily people didn't believe in e-commerce. I mean, if it was not for COVID, I think there would have been even more resistance. Some of the much bigger companies which are listed in Sri Lanka, which I myself have pitched to, thought e-commerce was never going to flourish in Sri Lanka, which is why they had so much of difficulty selling, their fruits and vegetables when the sites crashed and they couldn't get their act together really. So the main challenge was people not believing in things, and when people don't believe in things, and if there's a large number of people who don't believe stuff, it just generally doesn't happen. So for Takas, we believe that e-commerce was going to be play a huge role in the retail industry in Sri Lanka, which is why we obviously had a B2C business as well as a B2B business in technology. But the main challenge was people telling your business doesn't work in Sri Lanka, which luckily is not the case now, especially under COVID.
Okay. What advices would you like to share with the young entrepreneurs who would like to come into the same market or same business?
Well, e-commerce is one segment, and e-commerce is one of those businesses which in Sri Lanka or anywhere else has a long tail. That means, anybody. So if you are a person who's in business selling things to customers, you should certainly think of being in e-commerce. So either through partnering up with somebody like takas.lk, or you can even sell your own product either via Facebook, social media. There's lots of ways about going about it. Then there are obviously platforms where you can build your own website as well. So Shopify, we are on Magento. The backend obviously, as I mentioned, is from Tess. So you should think digitally and try to sell digitally. That's the cornerstone of, I think, retail right now. And people who don't think digitally will ultimately fail. The other advice I can give to would-be entrepreneurs is, you think really big. There are ways of raising capital through institutions like the Lankan Angel Network or individuals, angel investors. So there are ways of growing this business beyond the boundaries of your home, beyond the boundaries of Sri Lanka. Take it to the region, take it to the globe.
What would be the one thing, just one thing, would you like to share with anyone per se, from your life or from your journey?
Have a good team behind you. Takas or anything, we are the front-facing people, but my success is very much dependent on a good team, right? I think sometimes I've seen people take credit a lot for maybe they've done it by themselves, but I'm one of those firm believers that success only comes in a form of a team. And so I always say, give credit to people when credit is due in terms of the businesses or enterprises you run. Build a very strong team around you. Those are the people who are going to carry your business and yourself through really good and bad times. Without that, it's very hard to do it, end of the day. So I think that's the one thing I'll tell them.
Okay, thank you very much for joining with us.
Sri Lanka Business TV.